Good morning. I have music today. I'm happy about that. Sorry for getting a late start this morning. I just didn't feel like getting out of bed, and then had a bunch of stuff to do before I could start streaming. And that took some time, but now I'm here to build this thing. Every time I look at it, it just cracks me up. Every time. So in order for this to be for my future plans with not necessarily this board, but with this project overall to work, I need to be able to use the keyboard for a certain amount of time and be like, oh, the pinky stagger is wrong, or this, you know, whatever, to figure out what things don't feel right about the board. So I need it to function, and it's hard to judge from just one hand. So I'm printing a second one of these right now. It probably won't be done by the time stream is over, but that's okay, because that gives me more to do on the next stream. The idea is not to try to use this keyboard as is. Although, I mean, I'm once it's built and running, I'm gonna take a trip down monkey type because I have to, right? It's one of those things. I'm testing the process right now. The actual result doesn't matter. It's all about testing the process. So, monkey type, it has to be done. I have to do it. So eventually this will be fully functional, and I will monkey type on it, and it'll be hilarious. who knows? Maybe it will actually be the best keyboard that has ever existed. But just like, given how much I have to stretch for this thumb and stretch for the pinky, I'm thinking not. But, you know, we'll see. Who knows? I've been surprised before, and I am certainly willing to be surprised again. Meanwhile, the plan was to basically, the plan with this whole project, the whole reason I got the 3D printer to begin with, not just because I can print sweet dice towers like this. God, black is really hard to get on camera. If you're not familiar with what a dice tower is, it's a implement for role-playing games. I've got a die down here. I've got to have it. Okay, well, apparently I don't have a die down here. But it's an implement for role-playing games. Or tabletop games of any kind that use dice, where you drop the dice in and they come down, and there are several levels of knock it around bits before it comes out the sides into a little tray. There's some 3D printed trays that I need to print, but I wanted to get the other half of this started. But the idea is that, one, you don't have to roll them, you don't have to throw them across the table and hope they don't fall on the floor, because they stay in little buckets, and they get nice and randomly rolled. You know, nobody can claim that you, like, influence the dice roll in any way, because you'd be hard-pressed to do that with this. There are a bunch of different kinds. I found this one on Thingiverse and thought it looked cool and printed it. I think I want to scale it up. I think it's a little too small. I feel like dice are going to get stuck in there. We'll see. It, you know, was something to print. It was fun. But anyways, so besides printing dice towers, the main reason I got the 3D printer is so I could prototype keyboard designs. So I could design a case, much like this. You know, hopefully a little better quality layout, but at least, you know, design the case. Print it out, put switches in it, put an actual keyboard guts into it, and use it for a little while and see how much I like it. And then tweak things, and then print another one, and tweak things. So what I need is the keyboard guts that go into this. And to do that, I'm going to do a handwire build using PC babies, which are little single switch PCBs. The reason I'm doing this instead of the twisting thing is this should go a lot faster and be a little cleaner and easier to deal with. Not to mention, you might notice there are hot swap socket footprints on here. That's going to be really handy because I put the hot swap sockets on and then I can take the whole thing out. Because if I hand wire it to the switches and solder the wires directly to the switches, I can't get the board out. But if I put the PC babies in, I can just pop these off of the switches and pull the whole guts of the keyboard out and pop all the switches out, take this. Not this one, because I'm keeping this one, because, of course. But take the case that I printed and dispose of it, or sell it, or I don't know, whatever I feel like doing with it. And then put that into another one. So, I need to build that. And what better way to build it than to put it into this? Because then I get to use this as is and just see just how bad it is. One thing I found out, or one thing I realized when I was looking at this last night, is this case does not have any outputs for USB or TRS or anything like that. And I imagine that is intentional because the generator I used for this seems to be very like, we give you a basic skeleton and then you throw it into your 3D modeling software and tweak it from there. Or you throw it into, you know, OpenSCAD. So if you want to change the overall case or whatever, it's not trying to build you a fully featured, it's just trying to get you the skeleton. So you would add, you know, holes where you want it to go. And that makes a lot of sense, because maybe your holes, you know, how is it going to determine where to put the holes and where to, because, you know, it doesn't know where you want to put the controller or what controller you're using or anything. It's trying to just get you this, and it does a great job of, like, here's a very basic case based on, you know, keymap layout, or based on a KLE output, keymap layout editor, or keyboard layout editor, whatever, based on KLE output. It does a great job at that. So, I didn't adjust the model before I printed this one, and I'm probably not going to in the future, because I have a drill. I'll just drill a hole in the side of the thing. And this is not meant to be yet a production quality case. This is a prototype entirely. As long as it's functional. You know, I may change some of the parameters if I decide that, like, oh, this thing is too tall or too noisy, or I might do some things to change things, but for the most part, I'm going to be printing them as they come out of that tool, because it'll just be a lot easier. And then, of course, like, or because the ultimate goal is to figure out the layout. Once I get the layout, then I'm going to go into KiCad and I'm going to make a PCB for it. And depending on how that goes, you know, I might use, you know, Ergogen or something like that to actually generate the thing. I don't know. Figuring out from there. But ultimately, it's going to be a PCB that I make out of this. And then, if I want a case for it, then I'll go and make a case. Or I'll commission someone to make a case. Or something like that. It's not going to be, you know, this is just for rapid prototyping. So, anyways. All of that being said, I'm going to get started on this. And I just dropped one of the PC babies. I'm sure I will find it because I'll step on it. And it'll hurt. Yeah, so I'm going to get some more PC babies, start wiring this up. I'm just going to use Pro Micros because, for now, just because it'll be easier and then I don't have to mess around with anything wireless or whatever. I can always swap it out to nice nanos if I want to. And I don't yet, well, I don't have enough Arduino shells to make this. Plus, I still don't have a functioning, this doesn't work yet. So until I get the banana working, I'm not going to start using the Arduino shell for, like, actual boards yet. So, anyways, gonna go grab some PC babies and some sockets and get started. Oh, and also, you've seen me do some really scuffed soldering jobs on this channel. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this build that I just did for a customer is some of the best soldering I've ever done. It's just consistent, it's clean, the diodes aren't crooked or too crooked, you know, I mean, they're all hand placed, so they're not going to be perfect, but they're as close to perfection as you can get. And I also like their choice in caps, although this one I need to swap out. I forgot about that in this one. but I like their choice. They've got robins, but these are the linear robins. So I made some clerps, which are my term of endearment for clicky perps. I just took the click bars out of the robins and put them in the perps. So this is the remnants of the robins that don't have click bars, so they're just linear. They actually feel really nice to type on. Nice weight to them. Yeah, and the guy was like, "Yeah, I'll take them." So, yeah, but I think this is some of my finest soldering work. Really proud of this board. Okay. So, fun thing about these is if you do it right, so each of these is joined by a little, you know, mouse bite kind of thing, except that actually has a wire goes across it. So you don't have to, like, say, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to break off a column, you know, a 3-piece column for 5 of them. So let's just carefully do that. Now, this is actually a fully wired matrix right now. So I could put, like, wire up the columns at the top and the rows on the side and be done and have a 3x5 ortholinear keyboard. Boom, done. But I can also break them in half, or break them down further and just have the columns, but that means I don't need to wire between the columns if they're, you know, kind of normal MX spacing, and this is. So, man, I'm gonna break this. This is gonna screw up. So I'm actually gonna cut this manually. Or maybe not. My worry is that when I go to snap this way, I'm gonna bend it to the side. Oh shit, yeah, see, that's already... I need to apply very even pressure so that I don't snap the columns themselves. Okay. Alright, and then this I am gonna cut this out. No, I'm not. Because these are cheap. So I'm gonna break this off. And I'm gonna do this. There. So we've got our rows. For the thumbs. It probably doesn't matter, but, you know, might as well do it this way. Okay. Thumbs. You got extras. Okay. So, and I'm just realizing, before I broke all this stuff up, I should have soldered the sockets and the diodes. Oh well, too late now. I'm not gonna... Right. this off to the side for now. Some more into the shots. And I just noticed that that's really red. That's better. White balance is really off. Okay. Oh, I missed a bunch of chat because it was hidden by the OBS window. Music is quite loud. Sorry about that. Is that better? Disappointing the lack of Milmax sockets. Yeah, I'm over Milmax sockets, to be honest. Just totally, completely over them. Sorry about that. So I don't know why YouTube says I have 0 concurrent viewers. There are people obviously watching because they're in my chat. Whatever. I just try to ignore those counts for now. And as far as snapping it in a vise, I don't have a vise. Maybe I can 3D print one. I've just been like 3D printing everything now. I picked the printer back up and yeah, I have a bunch of mods for the printer itself that I want to print. One of them is a new basically shell for the print head that not only has better fan ducting, apparently, I don't know, but has a mounting point for BL Touch, which is the automatic bed leveling thing, which I have and I haven't installed because I'm a little afraid of it, to be honest. Just because there's a lot to do to get it installed and dialed and tuned and stuff. But that shell should help, I think, because it gives me better mounting places for it. So I'm a little more confident about, this is the way to set it up. This is the right way. This is a good way. So these PC babies have really teeny tiny LED spots. So I'm gonna try to see if these little tiny SOD323 diodes work on there. No, they're too small. Okay, it's fine. I keep trying to use them because I want to get rid of them. I guess I don't need to get any more diodes out just yet because I have plenty on the little thing. Okay. Diode goes that way. And I have been wanting to do this for a while. But now that I'm mostly out of diodes on that, you hath fixed your name. Oh. It didn't even occur to me. Balsacian McGiggles. Nice. So I'm unrolling it backward. It's hard to wrap my brain around how to do this. Let's just do it this way. Let's do one wrap here and see if that works. I should probably see if there's any kind of 3D printed parts tray that I can get, or that I can print up. 3D print all the things. Yeah, not everything's magnetic. And, the adhesive just, you know, makes them stick. Of course, then if I rest my arm on it, it makes it stick, which is annoying, but... we get it figured out. I played EVE Online briefly about 10 years ago. My friend was a director in Goon Squad, or Goon Fleet, or whatever the hell it was at the time. One of the various iterations of Goon Fleet. And basically, like, I logged in, he gave me a shitload of ISK. Because he had shitloads more where that came from. And I was like, go nuts. And I was like, what do I do? And he's like, go look at the wiki. And I'm like, oh my god, the wiki is so full of information. The Goonfleet wiki was incredible. It had articles about scamming people. Like, literally how to run scams. Because they were a very cutthroat PvP alliance. One of the things that always fascinated me was that in EVE there are shipping companies. Like literal player-run logistics organizations, complete with their own like merchant marine force, you know, because these big ships are carrying around a lot of stuff. You know, big cargo ships are carrying around a lot of stuff, a lot of valuable stuff, so they need defense, and so they literally employ people in game to defend the ships, and it's all like, it just blows my mind how the economy in EVE works. I think it's fascinating. I just wish they knew how to design and run their servers in such a way that they didn't need time dilation, because that is very much a problem of, hey, we have this entire battle going on one back-end instance. Because we can't do distributed computing. And to be fair, like, that kind of thing, to try to distribute that across multiple machines, because you need certain things to be synchronous and order counts and stuff, like, it's a big thing, but like, yeah, I really love the concept of Eve. But the time to actually get into any of these things is just a little too steep, I think, for me. And there aren't really paved roads in terms of, like, so you want to do this, then build your character this way. I mean, there probably are, but it's just not clear. Like, it's all third-party documentation, which, I mean, I guess if their whole idea is to just, here is a world, here's an engine in which you can create your own universe, then they've succeeded 100%. Because there's economy, there's wars, there's, you know, people earning a living. Like, I mean, it's just craziness. Well, one thing that is nice about Eve is that you don't have to log in all the time to progress. Like, for the first little while you do, because your skills that you're upgrading or learning or whatever are, you know, you can queue them up, basically. You can queue up the next 24 hours of, or at least, I'll preface this with, when I played 10 years ago, you could queue up the next 24 hours of skills starting to be learned. Not finishing, starting. Which means if you have a skill that takes 3 days to learn, or a week to learn, or something like that, you can get it started within the next 24 hours, and then you don't have to log on for a week, and your character is progressing in the background. But you can only do that, again, when I did this, once on each account. So if you want to level multiple characters at once, you need to have multiple accounts, which I think a lot of people probably did. Because say you want to do, like, oh, well, I have a PvP character, but I also have a miner, right? So you have your mining account and your PvP character account, or something like that. But that part, at least, is nice, because then you don't have to be logged on or log in every day or whatever. You can set time aside from it. Yeah, exactly. So you could, like, not even log into that character for a month, still be progressing, and play a different character while you're waiting, or play that character, whatever you wanted to do. One thing you will have to do, though, or one thing, like if you want, oh, I don't need to get more of those. If you want to play, you have to realize that it is impossible for a character to learn everything. There is not enough time left in the universe for a character to learn everything. So you have to start with something. Which I think kind of sucks, to be honest. Because, like, in WoW, you know, hey, I want to have a tank character, but I also want to have a DPS character, or I want to heal, or I want to whatever. I want to explore different aspects of the game. And I could do that on the same account, but I can't in Eve. I have to create multiple accounts. And I get it, they're trying to limit, you know, they've got to limit how powerful people can get, but it's like, well, what if I want to switch specs kind of thing, you know? Maybe they've got a system for that now. I don't know. Something tells me not, though. Something tells me that would be pretty game-breaking. To be like, yeah, you know, I leveled up everything and became like the world's best miner, and now I'm going to be a Titan pilot overnight. Are Titans still the biggest class of ships in game? Skill extractors, injectors. Okay. So that's a way you can kind of respec. Is there a penalty to doing that? I'm actually going to take these caps off. Because I'm going to put regular ass caps on this thing so I can use it. And also because trying to push the caps on here, or push the switches in with the caps on, I feel like I'm going to break the switches or the caps or something. Gonna break something. I'm gonna bust a cap. Oops. Okay, that's fine. This one's being kind of a pain to get in. If you can't tell. There. Maybe? No, I think I'm bending one of the legs. No? What the shit, Lana? These are even 3-pin switches. Like, this should just go right in. Okay, let me pop this out. Let's see what the hell. Okay, now that works. Yeah, I mean, if you want a 5x5 ortho, there you go. There's your keyboard. Okay, that works. Weird, it's almost like it's a little bowed. Wonder if that's a print artifact. No, that's a row. Yeah, I wish you could react to messages on Twitch too. Really what I want is just like, I don't even want YouTube chat, I want Discord. I want a Discord channel as my chat. Okay, I'm getting the process down here, I think. Technology won't creep along because everyone wants their own walled gardens. Honestly, if it wasn't for Discovery, I would just do this on Discord. Well, and the fact that Discord doesn't have, yet, video stage channels. But they will. Oh, they will. That, I guarantee, is something they're working on. And that's not insider knowledge because I talked to one of their recruiters a couple times. That's just, it's the natural course for them to follow. Okay. So we've got PC babies and all this stuff. All right, I'm going to push those off to the side. Cool. So what we need to do here is we need to wire the rows all together. I'm going to ignore this one for now because this is a row by itself, but these columns, I think, correspond with those. I'll have to look at the schematic for the corn. But definitely all these rows across. So we've got 3, 6, 9, 12 wires to wire up here. I'm not doing the controller yet. I want to get all the matrix going here and then drop in the controller pins. So I'm gonna bust out my wire. And this is gonna be quite the thing. Okay. Whoops. Found a socket on the floor. So we're going to do blue, green, and purple. Well, no. Yes. Whatever. Colors don't matter. So I'm just going to confirm my assumptions. So we've got our meter set on continuity mode. If I'm correct, there's continuity on those columns all the way across, and there is so far. And then across this row here. But not that one for some reason. Weird. That's good to know. Okay. So that one I can't use. I don't know why. It looks like there might be some sort of printing artifact on there or something, but I'm just going to do that. But then yeah, so okay. That's just verifying my assumptions. That I understand what's going on here. So I just need to basically do like this. Oh, you know what I should do? This might make it more of a pain in the ass to assemble. What I should do except I can't. But if I had some of these that were female on both ends, or yeah, if they were the receptacle on both ends, I could put headers. That'd be way too tall though. Never mind. I was thinking put headers on, and then it could all plug in. I don't have to solder the wires, just solder the headers, which are a lot easier, but This'll do. Okay. So let's... I know this wire stripper doesn't have even remotely the right size. Yeah, never mind. I thought maybe if I angled it just a little bit, it would work. No, not gonna happen. So in a lot of ways, it's actually really good that there's so much space between these because it gives me more room. You know, I build it for the biggest because it'll never be this big. I wanted to put a little extra space in here just to make sure, but it'll never be this big, which means I can easily collapse it without having to rewire things. So I'm gonna just twist that into position there. So I'm going to use... Oh, you can't even see it. Well, I've got this little green wire here. Maybe green was the wrong choice. But I've got that little green wire there. I'm going to use that as a template to make all the other ones. I'm just going to make them all the same size, basically, and then I'll wire them up. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. There we go. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4. Close enough. Okay. That's a good idea. I could get angled headers. Or just solder them in and bend them over. But this will be fine. If I don't drop more stuff on the floor here. See you later, s'mores. Enjoy the shower. Okay, and before I go putting the last one in, I'm going to template out blue wire. Alright, let's solder these real quick. Again, verifying assumptions. I am fairly certain. No. Okay, so those can't be connected like that. Okay. So now, should be able to tap here to there. Continuity. Perfect. All right, that's one row down. Oh, and I don't really strictly need to, but I can trim off the excess under there. Under where? Well, that's not what I wanted. I was trying to strip that piece of wire and just cut right through the whole thing. Okay, let's see if I can... No, because I'm just going to cut right through the... Whoop, that is not the droid I'm looking for. Oh, and I forgot to make my little template. But it's about a quarter of this. So we'll just fold in half. Fold in half again. That's plenty. Close enough. Every now and then I'm standing here and I think about my weekend and how much stuff I have to do before then, and I get a little anxiety, but also excitement. This weekend I am working the Cycle Oregon Thai Valley Rally first weekend. I've been volunteering at Cycle Oregon for years. Last year we didn't have any events because fucking COVID. And this year we haven't had any events for the same reason. Except we were able to pull these two off. So there's 2 weekends in a row of events. It's a bike ride Saturday and Sunday, and then another bike ride the following Saturday and Sunday. And I work as a communications person on the event because I'm a ham radio operator. So I gotta bust out all my radio gear and get it ready to go, but I'm also camping out there, so I need to bust out my camping gear, and I've got shit in my car I've got to bring inside, and I've just got so much to do before then. And I am a procrastinator, so of course I haven't done any of it. And instead I'm here building a terrible keyboard for y'all. And for me. I mean, this is definitely for me. You know, I'm not entirely doing this for your entertainment. But I worked the Hood to Coast race a couple of weeks ago, And to unpack, I stuffed everything into a box and brought it out of the car and stuck it in the basement. So, it's all a mess. And then, because I know at some point I have to go through that box, I've started throwing other stuff in that box. For like, oh yeah, I need to arrange this and sort it and put it away at some point. So I'll just dump it in this box that's already that, or for that. So there's like keyboard stuff in there. And like my instant, or not my instant pot, but my jet boil and a bunch of other just rando crap that's in that box that shouldn't be, but is, and I have to go through it now. Okay. There's that row. I'm going to check on the print real quick. Alright, the print's humming along. Okay, so I need to figure out where these go in, how these get wired in. But I'm pretty sure it's just column, column, column. And then I need to figure out what controller pins all this stuff goes to. And get one hand wired up. Okay. So I don't think any of this stuff matters in terms of what plate or anything. In fact, I know it doesn't. PCB. Oops. Okay, well that's not helping me at all. But if I pull up the KiCad, okay. Let's see. KiCad, schematic. Okie doke. There we go. So we've got the schematic here. Oops. Okay. So, yes, it's just right hand. The columns extend down onto here. So column, 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 and this is just its own row. Because there's row 0, row 1, row 2, row 3, and then this column 5, 4, 3. Okay. Perfect. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. Just wanted to make sure. So, for column colors, what I have left here. So I've got black, brown, yellow, and purple. We're gonna have to repeat a little bit. Oh no, wait, but I only need 3 column wires. So just do everything but black, because black is kind of signifies ground. And we'll just leave these extra long, even though they don't need to be. Because that's way longer, way farther out than they're gonna ever be in a real, real board. Oh wait, yeah, never mind. I was about to be like, oh, I didn't check the continuity across the other rows, but I will do that in one shot after I get these columns added onto here. All right. So let's go through and double check our continuity across all this stuff. So there should be continuity all the way across the rows. And as you can tell, there isn't. Okay. So there's something to fix on that. Wait, this was just working on the green on the bottom row. Okay. Oh, I didn't even solder that one. That one goes all the way through. Okay, let's just double check the columns. Even though those aren't even wired by me, just in case. Okay, so that is brown, comes all the way down to here. It works. That one works. That one works. Okay, cool. We have the matrix fully wired now. Now, we connect up the rows and the columns to the controller. And as always, before I do that, I need to do the firmware. So let's bust out some firmware. And I actually lied in the description. I didn't lie. I misspoke. I don't actually have corne firmware ready to go because I nuked all of my firmwares when I redid my Cornelius because everything was screwed up. But I have Cornelius firmware, but that doesn't work on the corne, so I need to copy that over real quick. But that's okay because you'll get to see how I do that, or you know, who knows if that'll be interesting. But we're gonna go ahead and do it anyways. So iTerm, plop that on there. Let's change the size. Well, that's huge. Well, that's the way we want it to be anyways. Okay. Okay, so what I have here is my Cornelius keymap. The Cornelius is different to the corne only in that it has 3 extra thumb keys on the base row, or on the low row. So basically or 3 extra, well, not thumb keys, 3 extra keys on the bottom row on each side. So basically I need to take and find the first 3 keys, and then the last 3, whoops, on each of these things. That is not what I want. Okay. End of the line. Back. Delete that. Beginning of the line. Oops. Okay. Maps, 34 key, readme, rules, config. Okay. So that really should be enough. We'll see if this works. While that firmware is building, I'm going to... So I need 6 columns and 4 rows. Or 5 columns and 4 rows. Because while the corne... Yeah, the corne is 6 columns, but like you can make it 5 columns by breaking off the outer column, at least on older versions. Or some versions, I should say. Anyways, 5 columns, 4 rows. So I need a row here, 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 here. And then we'll just do the columns across the top because that'll be easier to keep track of things. And since we need 9 colors and we only have 8 here, I'm going to just do the columns first. Okay, and I'm gonna just cut this all short and set that off to the side. So we need 5 columns, so let's go with red, blue, orange, purple, yellow. Why not? Base layer still has a trailing comma. Ah. You're correct. Error, tapping term redefined. I thought I had fixed that so that... I did. Okay, where was I on this? Okay. All right, so we're gonna do this in rainbow colors. So Roy G Biv. So we've got red or yellow, red, orange, yellow, green, but we don't have a green. Violet. Where's blue? I just had blue. Did it fall on the floor? It did. Can I not do that? I thought I fixed another board doing that. I thought there was a way to disable warnings. Or not disable warnings, but make it so warnings. QMK warnings not error. Oh, did I? Weird. There we go. Good catch. Really good catch. Okay. So now I just gotta wait for that Docker to finish or to stop. There we go. Okay. Wait for that to go. So the columns are... Where's the controller? There's the controller. Okay. So the columns are on the side with the reset switch. And they start... So there's raw, ground, reset, VCC, and then column 0, which we're not using. So column 1... Okay, so I'm going to write this down. So column 0 is unused. Oh, you can't see this. Column 0 is unused, so that's why it's not on here. Okay, so that's going to be red. And that goes to... A2. Right? Okay. And then orange goes to A3. Or no, A1, sorry. Yellow goes to A0. Blue goes to, what is that, I5? Sure. And then violet goes to I4. And then for the rows, the rows we will do row 0 orange, and that goes to, so we've got tx0 data r 2 grounds SDA SCL, so then 4 5 6 7. And that's going to be yellow, green, blue. All right. Perfect. And we have a firmware. The reason I wanted to build the firmware is because I always want to flash, at the very least, flash firmware onto a Pro Micro or any other controller before I solder on it. Because if that works, I just assume that it's going to work forever. Thank you, Sword, for steering me in the right direction. Your help is invaluable. 10 points to Gryffindor. Yeah, it does. And I think in large part because it's running a x86 Docker image on an M1 Mac. But it doesn't take so long that I really care. So I don't worry about it. Okay, so we need red. And I think I'm actually going to cut a little bit off of these. Yeah, especially when you're not familiar at all with Dutch. I apologize for butchering your name. Although I would have guessed that was like Swedish or some sort of Scandinavian country, not Netherlands. You're used to it, yes. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't make an attempt to pronounce it correct. Pronounce exactly as written. Just like the the graphics interchange format. Nice and easy to pronounce. Markdown support. This is YouTube. We're lucky to even have chat. Honestly, I really should switch to Twitch. It's so much better for streaming. But I feel like I've sunk cost into YouTube at this point. What terminal? I don't know what you're talking about. Thank you. I'm really bad at that. I try to show what I'm doing, and then I switch contexts and forget to switch the stream. And, like, because the, because OBS's window capture is a little weird, I have to fiddle with it every single time. So I don't bother making, like, scenes that I could switch to with a keyboard button. I just have one scene that has all the stuff, and then I show visibility and move shit around and stuff like that. Plus, I use this computer, so the tiny little windows I put so that the font size is reasonable when it gets into the stream and I can arrange them correctly are not what I use day to day. So I have to resize the window and screw around with it. It's just, yeah. Yeah, I've thought about doing that, Fish. But I also, there are a lot of things I don't like about Twitch, too. Like, it's a really terrible experience on mobile, in my opinion. Like, what I do on mobile usually is I'll watch on, say, my iPad and then chat on my phone. Or I'll watch on my iPad and stream it to my TV and then chat on my phone. I mean, I honestly don't know what the chat, the viewership experience is like on mobile for YouTube, because the only streams I watch on YouTube are like music streams, and they're just background, and I turn chat off anyways. But I have a couple of friends I watch their Twitch streams. And it's just not a wonderful... OBS can, yes. I don't know if my internet connection or my computer can, though. The other problem with doing multi-stream is I have 2 chat rooms I'm talking to. That could get confusing for viewers. And for me, to be honest. I mean, I already have a little bit of that going on because of links. Because for some reason, people can't post links despite me having it enabled, as far as I know. So I'm like, hey, yeah, can you send that to me on Discord or post it in the Discord channel or whatever? It's kind of annoying. Okay, now just to make sure, double plus sure. Yeah, I know what you were saying, Fish. Jerry was saying to stream on both at the same time, which is not a terrible idea, but it has its own problems. Or I should say it has its own challenges. You know what would have been really smart to do? If I was a smart person? Make sure this purple wire and this purple wire, because they're the same column, okay? But blue goes to yellow, yellow goes to orange. That's not confusing. Not at all. That is definitely not going to come back and bite me in the ass in a couple of weeks. Definitely not. Before I go forward with this, though, blue, green, I can fix this on the rows. Yeah, I wouldn't do multi-stream. I'd pick one or the other. It's just frustrating to me, though, that if I pick one or the other, I'm then effectively locked into that platform. Because, you know, if I someday decide that, oh, YouTube bad, I'm gonna go away from YouTube, blah, 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 blah. Great, I just abandoned all of my YouTube followers. Because the actual conversion rate of getting people to switch is going to be very low. Now, there's some amount of those people who do convert are probably better viewers, but I'm so not worried about stuff like that. What? Blue and orange are the same color? What? Do you mean the rows or the columns? Because rows, you got orange across the top, blue in the middle, green on the bottom, and this is built in. For columns, you've got orange over here, blue over here. This is brown. This isn't even... That's not even orange. That's brown. But blue goes to yellow, yellow goes to brown, purple goes to purple on the columns. Yep, I am almost done, actually, with this hand. Just need to solder the rows, or connect the rows to the controller, and then test it. Yeah, the monkey type's not going to happen today because the other hand is still printing. And I haven't even started building that side of it yet, but that's okay. Because like I said, that'll just be content for next time. Which, as a reminder to everybody, I am not streaming Saturday because I will be parts east. Excuse me. I will be in the general direction of Eastern Oregon. More like Central Oregon, but I think of Central Oregon as like further south, like Bend and stuff. Whereas this is more central, just laterally. But whatever. But I'll be live on the radio instead of live on the internet. And no, I can't stream that for a number of reasons. My duties in the vehicle I ride in involve dealing with sensitive information, so even if I had cell service the whole time and could presumably stream, I can't because of the information we talk about. Because I'm with a staff person, and we talk about stuff, PII in the car and stuff like that, so nothing I could stream, sadly. Oh, I mean, I'm gonna get a good WPM. I'm gonna predict that after a couple of practice runs, I will get 60. Man, this is one thing I wish. So with Twitch, if I had this, I would do a pool. Because with Twitch, you would be getting like little channel goodies or channel points or whatever the hell. And there'd be like a gambling thing. So I'd run a pool. And you all could bet on what my WPM is on this monstrosity. Okay, and I'm going to put this one kind of toward the middle here. Because in theory, it can go anywhere on the row. My normal is about 100 on monkey type, with just like regular ass words and stuff like that. I've gotten upwards of 120 before, but in short bursts, and only when I've gotten really lucky with words and stuff like that. I do about 13 words per minute on Artsy, at least the last time I did it, which has been a while. These wires are nasty looking. Okay, it's fine. So, orange goes to 4. Okay. Blue goes to 5. Green goes to 6. Violet goes to 7. Okay. No magic smoke. Okay, well, it's not working. Probably because the rows aren't soldered. But I also suspect that I also suspect that the diodes are backward from how the corne expects them to be. So on these PCBs, it flows from the row through the diode into the column. And I bet the corne wants it the other way around. Yeah, it does. If you look right here, you see the columns are wired. Wait. Okay, well, the footprint's a little weird, so it's not showing up. But it's showing that the diode is flowing into the row here. Oh, you can't see this. Let's turn KiCad back on. So if we look here, so this is flipped, which is fine. So what I need to do for that is I think there's just a define somewhere. Wow, that thing is actually pretty heat resistant. I was gonna just burn it with my soldering iron and it's not doing it. So let's see. QMK diode direction. Hand wiring guide. So call to row. We want row to call. So I'm going to override this in my, let's see, that's gonna complain, so I need to first undef diode. While that builds, I'm going to check on the print real quick, but I also need water because I didn't bring any water down because I was in a hurry and forgot about it. So I'll be back in a few minutes. I'll be back in a few minutes. So it doesn't always take that long. I don't know why it's taking that long. I feel like Docker is kind of moody. There's a lot of like file system abstraction too that makes it slow. But like I said, I don't do it enough that it really bothers me. So I tend to not care. Alright, so let's reset. Flash. Go back to our terminal. And we have a functioning keyboard. Yep, cool. Or at least a functioning half of a keyboard. Oh, you know what I don't have on here? TRRS jack. My computer is also doing a whole lot of stuff right now. It's got two 1080p video streams that it's turning or compositing and then shoving out to the internet as 1080p. It's got a bunch of applications open and stuff like that. But I would guess that 90% of the slowness is just Docker. Or Docker or the emulation of running a you know, an x86 Docker container on an M1 on an ARM processors or ARM set of ARM processors. Okay, so TRRS. That's OLED reset J3. Okay, so this is definitely the TRRS jack. The problem is I don't know what pins are what on that. It probably doesn't matter so long as I do them all the same. This is where I think going to, let's see, whoops. Looking at the PCB itself, edit PCB. So if we zoom in here on the TRS jack. Okay. So we've got, and I'm just going to draw this on here. so it's easy for me to see. We've got okay. That goes to data R. This goes to ground. And this goes to VCC. And this is unused. It says net J3 pad A. J1 pad A. Yeah, it just doesn't connect to anything. So that just doesn't... That agrees with the schematic view. You can see what I'm drawing now. So data R, ground, VCC. So that's of course going to be black, red, and then yellow. And that goes to ground on the controller. This goes to VCC on the controller, and that goes to data R. So if we look at the schematic, data R is up here above the ground. So that's... Let me just get one that's not wired up already. Just RX1 there. Okay. All right. So we've got black. Yellow. I don't see another red. So this one's going to be blue, because I'm not going to cut off more just to have red. Okay, so we've got grounds. RX1. VCC. Only I had a third hand tool. Okay. Now, should be ready to go. Once the other half gets done printing, I can wire it up. Just like this. And then I have a hand-wired split keyboard. Masquerading as a corne. For firmware purposes. And I broke a wire off. What happened here? Probably when I was trying to get this thing clipped on to anything. Cool. That's a good feeling. I have a functioning half of a keyboard. And I'm going to just bust out some plain Jane XTA blanks. Wow, that was a strong magnet. Oh, I forgot to fish out the homing keys first before I dumped them all in here. Because the homing keys for this set, if they're anything like the other set that I, you know, basically the exact same set that I have several others of, the homing keys are just a little deeper dish. Which is fine. That's what the MT3 profile uses for homing keys, and it's great. But it means they're like hard to spot visually in a bag. Okay. Well, the print for the other hand just finished. I just looked over and I see that the printer is done. But it's going to take a while before I can get it off of the bed. Because it sticks pretty good. And it has to thoroughly cool off before it comes off of the bed, I've discovered. Like, thoroughly, like an hour or two. So, I think that is probably a good stopping point for today. Especially because I have a ton of stuff I need to do this afternoon. I have to meet up with the customer to give them their corn. I have to ship out my Faunch pad. I'm shipping that to Critis so he can take a look at it to see if he can fix it or what the hell's going on with it. I have I don't even remember what board it is, but a 3D printed case for somebody that I need to ship out. Got some stickers I need to ship out. I've got a bunch of stuff to do, and then I have to clean up and prep and just got a lot of stuff to do. So I'm gonna call it for today. Thanks for joining me on this journey. This has been really fun so far. Like, I got a hand-wired keyboard that actually works, unlike the other one that I have that doesn't work. I can even make more firmware for it. I can do all sorts of goodies. Anyways, this feels good. Like, I mean, the board is terrible, but this feels good to have made this progress. Won't be streaming on Saturday again. Monday I will do the other hand, and then put them together and use them. Should be fun. I don't know. It's gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Monkey type Monday, and if I have time after that, I might. Might being the operative word, start working on the ADUX, the giant squid keyboard. So this is by Tappy. This is probably what I'm going to base future builds off of. This pinky is a little too far down. I want to move it up, maybe slide it inward a little bit. But I think this is going to be my starting point because it's a 34 key split keyboard, and I think it's all done in ErgoGen, so I should be able to just modify it and go from there. But it's got a little bit of finger splay, as you can see, and some hard pinky stagger, but I think that's too much for me. But we'll see. And I want to get rid of this damn thing. But I'll also probably... One of the other things that I need to do is I want to play with the angle between the keyboards, because I think a unibody split is what's going to end up being for my travel board. So maybe I'll, instead of printing full cases, I'll print some sort of adapter that'll tie them together and I can lock it into place. I don't know. We'll figure it out. This is going to be a fun exploratory project to see. So anyways, thanks all for watching and hanging out, and I'll see you on Monday. And I'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend.